She didn't just win. She was declared the greatest female athlete on Earth, and every single medal she won was built on a lie. Marion Jones stood on the track in Sydney, Australia in September 2000 and won 5 Olympic medals in a single Games, 3 gold, 2 bronze. She became the face of American athletics, the symbol of what a woman's body could do at its absolute peak. She signed endorsement deals with Nike, Tag Heuer, and Oakley. She was on the cover of Time magazine. 7 years later, she stood in a federal courtroom in White Plains, New York, and admitted she had been using performance-enhancing drugs before and during those games. She had lied about it to federal investigators. She was going to prison. If you think you know this story, stay with me, because the part that gets left out is the one that explains everything. Subscribe now so you don't miss the episodes that go just as deep. Marion Jones was not a late career athlete who made a desperate choice. She was a prodigy, the University of North Carolina point guard who led her team to an NCAA championship, the sprinter who looked at 24 like the fastest woman alive without any help at all. That is what made what came later so complicated to hold. She had real talent, extraordinary talent. The question was never whether she was gifted. The question was when the system around her decided that gift wasn't enough. According to federal investigators and court documents, Jones began using a banned substance known as the Clear, the designer steroid tetrahydrogesterone, or THG, provided to her by the Bay Area Laboratory Cooperative, known as BALCO. BALCO was run by Victor Conte, a former musician turned sports nutritionist, who had built a client list that included some of the most prominent athletes in American sports. Barry Bonds, Tim Montgomery, who was also Jones's partner at the time, and Marion Jones. The Clear was undetectable by existing drug tests. That was the point. Conte and his associates handed athletes something that current testing could not find. For years, it worked. For years, Marion Jones ran, won, and passed every test she was given. The BALCO investigation began as a joint operation between the IRS and the FBI in 2002. Federal agents raided BALCO's facility in Burlingame, California in September 2003. What they found, per court documents, was a sophisticated doping operation, designer drugs, shipping logs, client records, and a system purpose-built to keep elite athletes ahead of the testing technology. When investigators came to Marion Jones, she denied everything. According to the Department of Justice, Jones told federal agents in 2003 that she had never used performance-enhancing drugs. That statement became the foundation of her eventual criminal case, not the doping itself, but the lie. For 4 years, she maintained that denial publicly. She gave interviews. She appeared before cameras. She said she was clean, said she had been tested hundreds of times. Her sponsors stayed. Her profile held. In October 2007, Marion Jones walked into federal court and told a different story. She admitted, per her own public statement and confirmed by the Department of Justice, that she had used the Clear provided by Victor Conte beginning before the Sydney Games and continuing through that Olympics. She admitted she had lied to federal investigators in 2003. She pleaded guilty to 2 counts of making false statements to federal agents. The same week she entered her plea, she returned her 5 Sydney medals to the International Olympic Committee. The IOC formally stripped them in December 2007. The medals were redistributed, in some cases to athletes who had finished 2nd, 3rd, 4th behind Jones. Some accepted, some declined. In January 2008, U.S. District Judge Kenneth Karras sentenced Marion Jones to 6 months in federal prison. She served that sentence. By then, her Nike contract was gone. Her Tag Heuer deal was gone. Her house was gone. She had gone from the face of American athletics to a federal case number. Now here is the part of this story that sports coverage has never adequately answered. Victor Conte, the man who ran BALCO, who designed the Clear, who supplied it to athletes and built the infrastructure that made this possible, served 4 months in federal prison. Not 6, 4. He was released in 2005, years before Jones's own admission. He has since given interviews and appeared on television as a doping expert. The man who built the machine served less time than the woman who used what it produced. What Marion Jones did was real. The deception was real. The athletes who finished behind her in Sydney, who trained clean, who ran their best races, who watched a woman on the podium who should not have been there, they lost something that cannot be fully returned. A bronze medal handed over years later is not the same as standing on that podium in that moment. That is not a small thing. That is the center of what doping does to sport. And yet, Marion Jones did not design the clear. She did not run BALCO. She did not build the system that made undetectable doping available to American elite athletes. She was a customer of that system, a willing one, with full knowledge of what she was taking. But the architecture around her, the coaches, the chemists, the financial interests that needed her to keep winning, that architecture produced her, promoted her, and when it all fell apart, it let her take the fall largely alone. This is what the Marion Jones story actually is. A woman who cheated, who lied, who destroyed the legitimate outcomes of other athletes' careers, and who paid the highest documented price of anyone in the BALCO orbit. While the man who made it all possible counted the days until his 4-month sentence was done, she was culpable. She was also used. Both things are true. And refusing to hold both at the same time is how sports culture keeps producing the same story with different names. Marion Jones was not a villain who appeared from nowhere. She was the most visible product of a system designed to win at the cost of everything else. The system walked. She didn't. If that distinction matters to you, and I think it should, there's another story on your screen right now that goes just as far. Click on it. I'll see you there.